Hiya! I got a Crooked Stave beer I've never had before. That happens to be one of my favorite styles, which is awesome because Crooked Stave does a great job with all their styles. It's Hop Savant, Brettanomyces IPA. And this one was hard to find a lot of info about. I found someone who did a blog post about it 3 years ago when it was called a 100% Brettanomyces Pale Ale, a dry-hopped artisan ale fermented in oak foeders. Now it just says Hop Savant Brettanomyces IPA, American Brettanomyces India Pale Ale, and it's slightly stronger. It's 7%. So I don't know exactly what hops are in this. On Untappd, it says the regular Hop Savant is Simcoe and Centennial, I believe. But there have been other versions of this one. And yeah, the bottle now doesn't say anything about oak fermentation, but I think that almost just maybe every Crooked Stave beer is oak fermented or something in some way. But I'll probably be able to tell from the flavor. It didn't have any date or batch number or anything on it, but it was just shipped to a craft beer cellar in northern Massachusetts, and I guess they just got it in, and Crooked Stave, to my knowledge, has really never ever made it into Massachusetts before. I've always gotten it in Vermont or Maine. So I'm thinking this is pretty fresh. There's also not much sediment on the bottom, which I've noticed with some older Crooked Stave beers. But yeah, to answer these questions, I really just need to smell it. If there's a lot of oak aging, it's probably gonna be kind of tart. This review of the 2013 Hop Savant says it's pretty tart. And it's just been in my fridge for about half the day. I'm getting some aroma already. I've had their progenitor, which was they call that like a dry hopped sour, which is one of the best hoppy sours I've had. And this is rather carbonated, as I would expect from Crooked Stave. A lot of their beers poured a little too hard, I guess. But it's beautiful carbonation, and it's very Brettanomyces dominant. I don't know if I'm getting any old hop aromas or anything right now, but yeah, it's definitely got some Orval-like funky earthiness going on, and it's lightly hazy, not turbid or anything, and pretty pale. And the head is this beautiful, thick, frothy, soapy, finely bubbled all at the same time. And it's got some tropical fruity aromas, definitely some piney things going on too, but I've noticed that from certain earthier, woodier Brettanomyces strains, it kind of has a similar pininess to like Centennial hops, which I believe are in this. Yeah, it's a good combination of woody, earthy, and juicy elements, but the funkiness might be winning out in this beer. There's a good amount of, there's almost like a saison-y sort of thing going on in here. Let's see if I can get a little more beer in the glass. There's the sort of pear orchardy thing going on, slightly cidery, but not too cidery. It doesn't smell like a wild Spanish Basque cider or anything exactly, but that head, you can't see it exactly, is pretty amazing. And I don't know if the carbonation is that intense. I'm not seeing a ridiculous cascade of bubbles in there. It is a little bit hard because it is hazy. But I think it's time to try to get a sip through this foam. Whew. Oh yeah, wow, that's intense. The Breton hops are really battling it out in this beer. Yeah, I haven't had a Brett IPA that's this complex in the Brettanomyces yeastiness. There's definitely some bitterness going on, and it's got some tartness. Yeah, I'm betting you this is at least partially oak fermented. It's really nice, but this is not totally hop forward. This reminds me of some of Cambridge Brewing Company's dry hopped Brett beers, but this has a pretty firm kick of bitterness. It actually reminds me of Cambridge Brewing Company's Pearls of Wisdom, which was another 7% alcohol, partially centennial dry hopped beer. But I think the Brettanomyces is winning out. Whew, that's a little bit of an assault on the palate. It's a little rough at first, but it's not. It doesn't finish with too much pill to make it off-putting, but there's a good combination of a little aspirin, sort of bitterness, and also some hoppy bitterness. But the head is just amazing. Like Chad Jakobsen knows his yeast strains very well because he's naming all of his specific strains of Brettanomyces he isolates after himself. They probably used, CMY1, CMY2, Chad Michael Jakobsen 1 or whatever in this. I'm getting at some pretty ripe Orval-like funkiness. And there's just a little bit of juicy, sort of unripe peach and pineapple in the aroma. And a little bit of pininess and grapefruitiness too. It's a pretty complex beer, but on the tongue, at least while it's super cold still, it's pretty dry. There isn't really much juiciness going on. For my taste, it's not my favorite Brett IPA, but Brett IPA can mean so many different things depending on the age, the hops, the Brett strains. I like the ones that are a little bit softer and juicier, using the more tropical Brett strains. This one has got a little bit of that going on, but it's definitely the funky, woody, mushroomy almost flavors that are winning out. But the head is just beautiful. But if you're into the rough, barnyard, funky Brettanomyces beers, and also a kind of in-your-face West Coast IPA, this might be right up your alley. It's just a little harsh for me, but extremely enjoyable and complex and pretty unique. The closest thing I've had to this is maybe like Evil Twins Femme Fatale Brett IPA series, but those ones were a little bit less strong, only 6%, and not quite as bitter and in your face as this one. But maybe, I don't know, 80, 82 or something. I mean, this is a really very, very, very well-made beer. Just not quite to my tastes, but I'm really glad I got to try it. Yeah, it's nice. Maybe once it warms up, it'll get a little bit more fruit. But it's weird because if you age something like this, the Brettanomyces could actually mellow out after a long time of aging, but you'll lose the hoppy freshness that I always love. So it's probably best to have it fresh. So we'll do maybe 83 for Hop Savant from Crooked Stave. Goodbye.